You ready? My name is Louis Mendelson. I'm just fascinated intellectually by the financial markets. It just was always the real thing that interested me. I started trading in 1971. Handheld calculators hadn't yet been invented, much less personal computers. So everything was done by hand, or with a slide rule or something. It was very time consuming, it was very laborious. It took hours every night to just follow even a few stocks reasonably well. But then when PCs came out, I immediately knew that this is it. This is a technology, this is something that is going to completely change the world. And it's going to change my world. And I started to develop software for my own personal use, and realized also that I could license that software to other traders around the world that would benefit from it as well.
When my father first started the company, I don't think he really envisioned that it would grow to the degree that it has. Back in 1979, this was just a dream. It was just a vision. It was, what if I did this? He really risked it all.
I was the assistant executive director of Women's Hospital here in Tampa, Florida. For all intents and purposes, I was a very successful person. At 32 years old, to leave hospital administration with a wife and a young child, some people, including my father-in-law, would tell you that you're crazy, that you're reckless and irresponsible. I just had to do it. And 1983, I introduced the first commercially available trading software that had a capability that was known as strategy backtesting. And that really was the genesis of my company. People from all over the world, started to respond, and I was invited to go on television.
Our guest today is Lou Mendelson.
Lou Mendelson. Louis Mendelson. Louis Mendelson, welcome to Bloomberg.
My reach was a global reach. People began to see what I was doing and to respond to it. And so I began communicating with traders all over the world. It became apparent to me that the markets were becoming globalized. This was before the word global economy. There was no word to describe it.
Over the last 100 years or so, technical analysis had a very inward look. You analyze each market by itself. And your view is that that concept is almost obsolete.
My view is that it is very much obsolete. It's too limited in scope. It's not taking into consideration these interrelated effects that are occurring in the marketplace. And in fact, I believe that by the end of this century, really what we'll end up with is one world global market.
I wanted to look to see how I could glean from all of these activities that are going on around the world in the different financial markets, and how do they kind of impact a given market, and using that to be able to make these very short-term predictions of each target market, which is very, very powerful and has a very high degree of predictive accuracy. Back in the early 80s, when my oldest son, Lane, was old enough to accompany me, I would take him on road trips with me where I would be a speaker and so forth. He, as a very young age, became interested in and involved in the company and in the financial markets and technical analysis.
I wanted to work with my dad so badly that I pretended like my lunchbox was a briefcase. And so it was kind of a joke in our family that there's Lane going to work with his briefcase.
And he was with me at these meetings and at these conferences, and how could you not be excited by it? He got the bug too.
So what was cool is we could walk from the house right over to the office. And so this is what allowed me to, after school or in the summertime, come over to the office and learn about the company and what we did. So here's some of our early software. This is from 1992. I was responsible for formatting floppy disks. So I would take them, I'd put them into the floppy disk drive, run a little script that would verify that the disk was good, and then it would go into a pile to have software copied onto it, and then that software would be sent out to customers. I mean, now it's, you send out a link and they download it. I really got very involved, very excited around 1995 when the internet first took off and became a thing. And I put together our first website. I had bought some books on HTML and was teaching myself how to program, and I bought a scanner. At the time it was like almost $2,000, and I was scanning articles that my dad had written and published in major publications and putting those up on the website for people to view. That's when I really got excited. And it allowed for us to really demonstrate for the first time electronically what it is that we've got and how it will help people make money in the markets. And so I followed in my father's footsteps, but at the same time, I've really blazed my own trail and built upon what it is that he had started. I'm just very passionate about everything that we do. I'm passionate about the people that we help. I'm passionate about the technology that we develop. The research and development that we do is ongoing. It never ends. It's a constant thing that has to evolve. The markets aren't stagnant, they're constantly changing. So what that means is that the technology has to continue to evolve, continue to progress, continue to become better so that it never falls behind the curve. We're always at the forefront and cutting edge of technology, and that's because we continually reinvest in the research and development efforts.
We don't cut corners. We don't do things just for short-term gain. The company has been in existence now for decades. It's probably the oldest continuously operated trading software company for personal computers in the world.
I think that's what gives a lot of people confidence about doing business with us, is because they know that they're going to be working with a company that's reputable, that has integrity, that has longevity and staying power. And that's really important because we're not just selling a product. It's really a relationship. Yes, we provide you with the technology, but we also provide you with training and education.
We have numerous departments. We have a very substantial customer support department so that we make sure that our customers understand how to use the software and can benefit from it to the greatest degree possible.
We want our customers to feel like they're a part of a family, that we really care about their success, because we do. And we know that their success does ensure our success. Our company has grown, and there have been a lot of people who have contributed and helped our success. And so our philosophy has always been, if our company and our business is successful, then that gives us the resources and the time to give back to others. And if we can help others, you know that you're doing something that's productive, you know you're doing something that's positive, and you know that you're making a difference in our community, and that always feels great. If you don't have a good product, if you don't have good service, you may be able to operate for a year, maybe a couple of years, but you're not going to last decade after decade after decade. As a second generation Mendelsohn, and as a second generation business owner, it's my responsibility, it's my duty to make sure that our technology continues to be on the cutting edge, that the service, the product, the education that we provide to our customers is top-notch, world-class, and that I continue to foster a really positive and upbeat culture for our company and for our employees. And if I can achieve all of that, then I will consider what I've done a success.
Right now it's already into the second generation, and I'm hoping that now that I have 4 grandchildren, it could be a third generation or fourth generation company.
I bring my daughters to the office as often as I can, just to expose them, give them the opportunity to see what it is that we're doing, feel the excitement that I was able to feel when I was a young child, which is what I think really pushed me to want to be a part of the company. You never know what the future holds, but I would be very satisfied, very happy if one day my children would be a part of the company and would want to carry the torch on from that point.
And I want it to be a 50-year-old company. And even after I'm gone, I'd like it to be a 100-year-old company. There's no reason why it can't be, because we have the expertise, we have the resources, we have the capabilities, we have the reputation. My approach that I started, and the approach that our company has, which is a global analysis that looks at global relationships between markets and their influences on one another, that approach will never become obsolete. So it could be a 100-year-old company.